Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie. I am Stephanie Buckland, your host. And I am so excited to be interviewing my friend and colleague, Krystal Mack, owner of Early Bird Vegan Cafe here in Tempe, Arizona. Oh, Krystal, thank you so much. This is so exciting. Yay! Yes, I know. We've been trying to do it for months, but it's all good. Divine timing is perfect, right? So it's all good. So I would love for you to give our audience an introduction to who you are, what you're up to, and what kind of magic shows up in the world as a result.
Okay. Well, I am Chef Krystal. We're an operator of Early Bird Vegan and also Trash Panda Vegan food truck. And we make magic, or magic appears in our world through cooking and through these hands and through the hands that we teach how to cook the food that we make. And also magic appears when we change the lives of people through food and giving them the opportunity to taste vegan food for the first time. To me, that's magic right there.
Oh, I totally agree. First time I went to a vegan place in California when I became
What
vegan.
was that?
Oh, 2012. It's been a long time. Yeah. But I am a loving junk food vegan. I love sugar too much. But when I first found a vegan place, it was actually a raw vegan cafe in LA, and it blew me away. But they were able to make like a pizza out of raw food. I was like, this is priceless. This is so weird. It definitely was different, because I was at a point that I was still kind of dipping my toe in veganism. I very slowly transitioned. So I'd love to hear about your why. Like, why do you think, what led you to open a restaurant? I mean, because most vegans wouldn't go in that direction.
No, the why started a really long time ago. So my why, I went vegetarian back in '04, right? Wow. So that was a long time ago. And oddly enough, or interesting enough, weirdly enough, I was working at a steakhouse
Oh,
when this happened. So I won't go into the details about that story, but just know that I went vegetarian while I was working there and got called like every kind of name on the planet because they're like, what kind of, freak are you for not eating meat? And now you work at a steakhouse. But, you know, um, so then I transitioned to from vegetarian to vegan when one of my girlfriends went vegan and she was looking to get pregnant and she'd been married for, a number of years and wasn't able to conceive. And she went on this weight loss journey, this healing journey, and she changed her whole life and her whole body and was able to get pregnant and have a baby. And I thought when I saw her body changing and just like her overall self changing, I thought I could do that. I could go vegan. So I went vegan, went raw vegan. Ah, that was amazing. I love being raw. I feel so alive, so electric when I'm in that state. But that right there, it was her that inspired me really to go vegan. And it was an easier transition because I already had been vegetarian for some time. So, and I went vegan back in 2010, and then have been here writing it ever since. And when I went vegan, my body completely changed, my mind changed, like everything. And it was one of those things I couldn't wait to share with the world. And so I was always cooking for my friends and what it was my two worlds colliding. So food and fitness. So there was always, events where, I made food and of course it was all vegan and they didn't know. They just knew it was delicious. So that was for me. That was the key. So being able to share this with other people and let people know, whether it be through teaching classes, right, that how to cook vegan food, or just giving people the opportunity to taste it, like was important. I was like, well, if I can do it, anybody can do it because I was the type of uh, carnivore back in the day that had to have a piece of meat on my fork with whatever else I was eating. So just know that, like, that was
Yeah.
smashed potato, there had to be something on top. So, that was the way that I ate and the way that I viewed food. Um, and so being able to, share this with the world and having a restaurant and being able to showcase all the food, we definitely wanted to do that. And, I live in South Phoenix, right? It's the largest populated food desert where I live. So that's where we started, was there in South Phoenix. And we're there for, 4 years, and started off with the food truck. And then shortly after opened up the restaurant. And this was all during the pandemic. So first year pandemic.
Yep, I was watching.
Yeah.
I found you, I think, originally at the Vegan Social
Okay.
downtown Phoenix. That was the first time I was exposed to all of those amazing vegan food trucks. I saw yours. I'm like, okay, that's a cool name. I love the vibe. And then I think it was when I produced my event in 2022, I was looking for a place where my speakers could come and meet. And we found a place that was Early Bird Vegan in Phoenix. So I was like, okay, we'll go there and we'll meet there. It's vegan. Hey, it's an awesome place. It ended up that I couldn't make it. I didn't have a car. So I didn't actually make it to the venue, but we still had the meeting. And I was like, okay, early bird vegan, early bird vegan. I'm going to remember that. I got to get it down there sometime. And then you opened up this one in Tempe. And I had been here before it was a different restaurant. Yeah. And well, because I love naturopathic medicine and I appreciate what the school's doing. And I've been here for several things like presentations about naturopathic school. And so I'd tried the cafe before, but it wasn't 100% vegan back then. It was like 50-50 maybe. I think there's like two or three options on the menu. Like not a really extensive menu. And the food was okay, but definitely not as good as yours, honestly. Yes. Yeah. So, wow, going vegan, it has been quite a journey for you then, because it sounds like you really got into the restaurant business just for the love of serving food and serving really good food.
Absolutely. Getting into the restaurant business was, going to culinary school, wanting to, cook for famous people, live my dreams. I got to do all of those things. And technically I'm a retired personal chef for
Nice.
so this is my retirement baby. And being able to share this is key, it's crucial. So it's like my passion to still, serve people in that way that makes people feel special and loved and cared for is really, where it all comes from too. It's just those are my roots.
I think I get that. I host a vegan Thanksgiving potluck every year. We call it Thanksgiving because, and in that potluck, I have found just people really appreciate sharing food together. People appreciate the opportunity to bring their own food and share it with others, right, and have that experience of trying other people's food and all that. I love potlucks, but especially that one because it just seems like the vegan community of all of the people in like the fringes of society, if you will, the vegan community is forgotten during that particular holiday. And, I've had my own experiences at my family's places where vegan food was not even an option. And I had to bring my own in order to have food for myself at my family's house. And then I've had other situations where, I'm in that Thanksgiving experience with my family and I'm getting nauseous because of the turkey that's cooking. It's like I'm not okay with it anymore. I finally got to a point with my family. I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to have to start doing my own Thanksgivings because I just can't be in this environment. And so how have you navigated now since becoming vegan with the rest of your family? So your rest of your family is still carnivores, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to just holidays and special occasions in general, that's what I'll call it. We've always had to bring our own food. And just so you know, I have two young girls, and they're both vegan since birth. So,
oh wow,
decided to make sure that if we agreed upon anything, it was definitely that. And so we made sure that there was always food for us. So plenty of food for us to eat. And so we never felt like we were missing out. And I wanted to always make sure that my girls felt like they weren't missing out on, foods, whatever, pumpkin pies, different pies, mashed potatoes, and then being able to educate the family, especially on my, the girls, other side, making sure that they knew. So once they finally got it, it was easier to be around family during special occasions because we knew that they were going to use plant-based butter or maybe olive oil or anything, something different that wasn't butter and, wasn't going to use, any kind of animal products in the food because it's to them, it's not a big deal. That's what they're used to, right? And sauteing in butter and things like that. But like for us, it's like, oh no, we can't have that. No, we don't want that. First and foremost. So and educating them like, okay, well, these are the types of products that we do use, or something switching olive oil out for butter.
Yeah.
It's a like simple thing. You don't need a lot of it. So, and then being around my family, and bringing that food, we would do, I do a lot of cultural food. My mom's from Thailand. And so
Cool.
rice and spring rolls, during the holiday. And then of course there was, the carcass and things like that. But what I would do was I would still make, fried rice and spring rolls, but I would find that my family, they'd want to eat it. Right? Making vegan spring rolls forever. And they didn't.
Rock star, right?
They just didn't know because I've always said my mom used to do it, or she still does it, but she doesn't live in town. So I would be the one to make the spring rolls. And just over the years, I had changed it, when I was, vegetarian, I'll do it, for them. Like, oh, I would just use like ground pork or something. Or then it turned into crumbles. And then it just turned into like, there's no meat substitute in there at all. This is veggies in the spring roll, seasoned deliciously and made with an amazing sauce. But they want that food. They want the food that I make. So that's kind of interesting that they're not that they've come on board, they're more understanding and
Minded.
absolutely. And so they know like, oh, we'll get this for Krystal and the girls. And, so I'm thankful that they do that for us now. And so they know not to bring anything that's not vegan, around me in the sense like that's for me. Like, oh, we bought you this cake. And it's like, none of that happens anymore. It used to happen. Right. I bought you this, but oh, you can't eat it. So no more of that. So we definitely have made an impact. And, I think being, what's the word, focus on like having that health background is goes hand in hand with the food, right? And so being able to to be an example for people to be able to see that, it's like, oh well, she's not like a skin and bones as a vegan, right? That's a myth, right? And so dispelling myths is, I would say, something that what by having what we have, having the restaurant, the kids, and living the life we're an example of like what it looks like. But it looks like a lot of different things, right? It's veganism doesn't look like one thing, and that's really important too.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed that the world is becoming a lot more accepting as well. People are starting to recognize it. It's showing up in a lot of documentaries and a lot of, health shows. People are talking about plant-based nutrition or whole food or vegan food or vegetarian. I had my experience with vegetarianism when I was 17, and I actually did not know how to eat. I didn't know how to get enough of the nutrients in my body. And so I just kept getting sick. And my body's sensitive to dairy, and I was eating a ton of dairy because I'm vegetarian, right? And so I ended up, I was vegetarian for about a year and a half. And then I had to go back to eating meat because my body was just not doing well nutritionally. And it wasn't until my 30s when I learned about whole food nutrition and the Gerson therapy. And I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but his name is Gary Yourofsky. He is a guy out of somewhere on the East Coast. He's been a vegan activist for something like 20 years. He's amazing. He came to one of my college classes and did a talk on why you should be vegan. And he called us on all of our addictions especially a cheese addiction.
Yeah.
He called us on that. He called us on the excuses we make in order to justify the way we eat.
Right.
And he called us on our ignorance about like not knowing where our food comes from, not having that connection, not understanding that food is coming from somewhere. You should know where it comes from. And so he showed us the slaughterhouses. He showed us that traumatic vision of what it looks like to be an animal in that industry. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, I can't. You know, I was already kind of on that path because I had learned about the Gerson therapy.
Right.
So the Gerson therapy was whole food, plant-based. It was super clean, eating juicing and that kind of thing. So I was like, well, I wonder if this is a solution, because at the time I was watching my dad basically have a very slow death. He had heart disease and type 2 diabetes.
Oh, wow.
And so lifestyle diseases. And if he had known at a young age that he could change his body with food, he'd probably still be here, you know, but he didn't know. And I didn't have enough courage to say, Dad, it's time to change. You have to do this. If you want to watch your grandkids show up, you've got to do this.
Right.
He kind of understood, and he did it for about a week. He did vegan for about a week. And then he was like, I'm sorry, Steph, I just can't. I miss my meat. I miss my junk food. You know, and my food is what makes me happy. And I get that because food defines us. You know, I mean, the food that we eat is part of our culture. It's part of our families. It's part of our relationships. Sharing food with people we love, like all of that, I totally understand.
Right.
And he was one of my biggest lessons, because you cannot change someone who does not want to change.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's really the key with veganism, vegetarianism, even psychic mediumship. If you don't understand and it doesn't resonate with you, then don't go there.
Mhm.
You know, don't feel forced. You don't have to choose
Yeah.
something just because somebody tells you you have to. You know, it's more about your own personal choice, and then do your own research.
And I did tons of research out there. You know, I wanted to make sure with having kids that they had all the minerals, the vitamins, the fats, everything. So I was just in the books. Every vegan book that was about health, fitness, wellness, I had that book on my shelf. So I did everything that I could to educate myself. And then I made sure that I passed that on to my children, meaning like I made sure that they had the right nutrients, right? That they weren't lacking anything. And, you know, it shows in them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. I love that you're raising your kids vegan. That
Yeah.
makes me so happy.
It's funny when you know a high schooler who's 14 and a middle schooler who's about to be 12. And it's just amazing how they are thriving kids. You know, they're smart, they're funny, you know, they just are loving, they're compassionate, they understand why that we're vegan, not just because mommy says so, and that they want to be that. Yeah.
So speaking of which, something I know about veganism is that it's a very sustainable lifestyle. It helps you heal your body. It helps you relieve yourself of the toxins that are in your body, especially if you eat a lot of greens. You know, it cleanses you. So yes, sustainable lifestyle choices, you know, like we're in that. We're in a place where we actually need to make these choices.
Yeah, well, it's critical. We're at that point that where if as a society, we have to change the way that we're eating, the way that we process foods, the way where we're getting our food from. And, you know, we're doing everything that we can here in the restaurant to have a more whole foods, plant-based menu. And one of the ways that we're doing it is by, we haven't transitioned completely, but making we serve a lot of mushroom dishes, and they're local, they're organic, silver oyster mushrooms that we're using, and instead of like the mock chicken, right? And the mock chicken is still there, but I'm definitely pushing those mushrooms, and you know, the jackfruit uh meats that I guess you can call meats that we have in house, that we make in house. Like, it's important that, you know, these things that have very minimal amount of ingredients, and no chemicals in them, right? That those are the items that we want to share with the people. Yeah, there are these, we're a transitional foods restaurant. And, we're, if you decide to, oh, trying this vegan food for the first time, this is great. Or if you're going to indulge because, you're a junk food vegan and you want like, yummy cake and mac and cheese, and we got all that for you 100%, but it's made with better for you ingredients, right? That we, to make sure that we are there for the people, letting them know like, hey, we have these options out here, and this is more sustainable than buying this packaged, product from over here, and versus us making our homemade items here that are full of love and delicious flavor, and as far as being sustainable too in the restaurant, making sure that our practices. So we are a newly certified green business here in Tempe through the city of Tempe and Local First Arizona, which is amazing. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
cities program is great. We have a big garbage bin right there and compostable bags, and we just put everything there. We sort through the trash that we get. We put gloves on and we go out there and get the trash from the front.
Right on.
And we bring it back here. We go through it, and then we even make one. We have a compost bucket for better piggies to pick up on Friday.
Nice.
It's fun for us. It gets my people here engaged, and that because they live the life too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's important for them. And then that they've contributed, right? And that they know that they're doing their part or helping us do the work together is really great. And so one of the things that's going to be happening here is that, well, I don't know if you know this, when we first started Early Bird Vegan, everything was to go because it was during the pandemic, right?
Right.
People hanging out and eating, and there's that fear and things like that. So all the food was packaged to go and everybody went outside. There was a couple little tables, but they're more for waiting. And then we put lots of patio tables outside, like 5 benches outside. And so we're like, yeah, go outside and eat. And then when we opened up this restaurant, we came to a space at 1,700 square feet just in the kitchen alone. And we had all of our compostable containers and plates and stuff that we were using because that's just what we were used to, right? The mindset, right? So we were stuck in that mindset of like, oh, everything's just like in to-go containers or compostable plates. Like, this is great, it's compostable, right? But like, no, it was like so wasteful because like technically those compostable plates were for catering only, but somehow it just transitioned to everything, everyday use. And yeah, we have compostable forks, but it should be only for those occasions. And so we met with Local First and devised a plan, and we figured out a way to reduce that. And so you've noticed, right, since you've been here, that we're using plates now, right? Yeah, so we're working with them to get more plates, more cutlery, and because we haven't phased that in, and then a dishwasher too, to make sure that we can, handle the load.
Yeah.
And then that's saving so much, emissions, right? Our reducing our carbon footprint, and it's amazing. And then being able to work with the people who are composting, and later on in the future get vegetables from there.
Wow. Yeah.
The cycle of life is literally happening right here. Yeah,
That's so cool.
it's really great.
Good. Okay, well, is there anything else that you'd like to share about upcoming events? Anything you do on a regular basis want to share?
Yes. Upcoming events are pasta night. We're doing a 3-course pasta night on Friday. We have as well. So we'll have a starter, you'll have your salad, you'll have your main pasta dish that, like I said, that's gluten-free. There's a gluten-free option, and then you'll have dessert, and dessert will be its own little 3 courses, or you'll get
Oh my!
desserts.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, so this is like to showcase like just something else that's like not normally on the menu, and it's fun, and being able to teach my employees a new technique or style of cooking, and bringing in a guest chef too to help out. It's all great. We all work together and have fun. So that's the next big thing that's happening, and there's going to be some live music because we have some friends that are there.
Very cool. Nice. Now, what is that date?
It is the 16th.
16th. Okay. I'm not sure if this will air before the 16th, but
It's going to be a regular thing. I believe it's going to be the third Saturday. So
okay.
the month is
Wonderful. Okay.
yeah, so as we go into the future and as the season starts up and it starts getting nice, we'll be out at the social, we'll be out at some other really great events here in the valley. So stay tuned, watch us, follow us on Trash Panda Vegan on Instagram and online website.
Awesome. Okay. Now let's give everyone the details of how to find this location because some of my vegan friends have been a little challenged.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the skinny. Okay, so we're on the campus of Sonoran University, which is a naturopathic medical school, and there are three buildings on the property, and our building number is 2152. And so if you are coming from the East Valley and you're coming off the freeway or just from anywhere east, you want to turn into the third entrance on the right. And so it's going to look like a set of apartments that you're going into, but you'll turn right and then it'll kind of fork and you want to keep on staying right. And we are right there on the corner. You'll see the food truck outside, nice and shiny, and then just parking one of the visitors parking spaces. And then you'll see tables outside. And you definitely know you're in the right place and go to the door that's furthest to your right because it is a secure facility and that is the only door that we keep open for the public. And then if you're coming from the west side, you're going to turn left into the first entrance. Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Now the address is going to be in the information below as well as the website, so you guys can check it out. Now, I always ask my guests for a little bit of inspiration or something that they want to share as a closing statement.
To share as a closing statement. Oh my goodness, that you're putting the pressure on. She didn't tell me about this mushroom. That's the kind of gal she
I believe in
is.
you.
What I want to share with you is that be good to yourself. And what I mean by that is that we're all on a journey and there's there's no such thing as perfection. So wherever you're at, just do what you can to take care of yourself, make yourself feel good, and you know that what you put into yourself is what you're going to put out. And that's what I have for you.
Love it. See, I knew you could come up with something. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Krystal. This has been so much fun.
So nice. Thank you. We did it.